Hello everyone, welcome back. Another video here. Shogun 2 multiplayer avatar battle with Smothered Run. And here's another medium battle. I'm going up against an opponent. We're at, again, close to the same rank as me. Actually a little bit higher. Anyways, we're at Hokuriku Crossing. I hope I'm saying that right. And you can't see my opponent's army, so I'll just go quickly through mine. It's the same sort of standard setup. I've got 5 katanas, 4 light cavalry, and Yari Samurai and Yari Ashigaru. I'm not too worried about having my Ashigaru out, or my Samurai up front to grab the shrine. That's going to be the first, or sorry, the workshop, because that's going to be the building I go for. And you can't see my opponent's setup, so I'm just going to double speed it, because I'm just moving. This is one of those battles I feel I could have done a little bit better than I did. Yeah, this wasn't. I don't think this wasn't my. I don't think this was my best executed battle. But anyways, so there's my opponent's army now, and I'm just going to play for a moment. It's almost his entire army. I know he's probably got some cavalry hiding, but my opponent's got all veterans here. We have Yari Ashigaru, Matchlock Samurai, Yari Ashigaru and Matchlock Samurai Fire Rockets, which is an expensive unit, and then Katana Samurai and Katana Samurai. So with veteran katana or veteran fire rockets at probably that's rank 4. I'm going to say that's close to his full army, but I'm fully expecting an ambush. So first thing I'm going to do is try to find some way to do an ambush patrol and make sure my flank is secured, because I'm expecting there to be cavalry in these trees over here. So I'm going to just double speed for a bit because we're just capturing buildings. And this moment too, I'm deciding, well, do I want to try to go across this choke point and get hit by all of his matchlocks, or do I wait a bit and maybe come around this way? So sort of a debate. Not really sure how I want to do this. I know I outrange my opponent, even though I only have 1 bow samurai in this battle, instead of my 2 usual matchlock or bow ashigaru. Can't find the word. So now I was trying to find a way to approach my opponent in a way that would limit the amount of exposure I have to his matchlocks and fire rockets. I saw his fire rockets, so I'm doing as much as I can to keep my general out of the way, or the line of fire. And sure enough, there's his 2 Yari cavalry. So at this point, I'm just sending my spears up to form a wall and going to shadow his cavalry as best as I can. Got my cavalry on advance rapidly, and I think I've put them in Yari wall, which was kind of useless, so I take them out of it. There goes the first shots into my infantry, and killed a handful, but you can shoot fire rockets all you want. I don't care. Now, discovered at this point, my opponent's not a camper. He's not a matchlock camper, so he's actually following me across the river, and this could be dangerous because he could capture the workshop, which will make it extremely difficult for me to cut down his units. So probably at this point what I should have done is just turn my units around, set my bows up on the hill here, and just had them shoot until my infantry came back this way. Instead, I end up doing other things, and it's not quite as effective as it could be. Fortunately, he's got his spears coming up because I haven't shown my cavalry, so I'm planning to use that to my advantage. And what I should have done at this point is sprung my cavalry while his infantry was all the way up here and advancing towards me. I should have sprung my cavalry into his rear and either hit his general, although he is a melee general, or his fire rockets. But instead, you'll sort of see what happens. Basically, at this point, I'm needlessly ceding ground. Trying to move. My spears are out of position. I'm trying to move my swords over to take on his cavalry, which if I can catch any of them, they will lose in melee combat. I do end up getting one of his cavalry, and then here comes another volley of fire rockets, which, again, fine, do all day. So here comes all my cavalry, not the best use of cavalry. But I do take down quite a few in his Yari cavalry in that charge. I am starting to flank, though. So this moment, I'm pretty sure if I charge in, I can, especially in the flanks, I can get him from behind. He's bringing over his spears, trying to pull my cavalry away from his guns. I should have had, this is two where I should have had my bows over here shooting into his matchlocks, but I didn't do that. So I'm pretty sure I can handle this cavalry fight. He's lost one unit. He's going to lose his next one. I will lose at least one unit of cavalry here, especially with those fire rockets. He does nuke one of my units, and that last one routs his. So now his cavalry is completely off the field, and he's wasted. That's 3 or 4 shots of his fire rockets. How much ammunition does he have on those fire rockets? Let's see. There they are. Still only 5 shots per man, roughly. So I'm not too worried. At this point, too, I can handle. I can start using my cavalry for flanking. Again, leaving this island completely unprotected, what I could have done, I mean, I didn't have a great way to advance, just because of how this line is. He would have mowed my my infantry down with his matchlocks, but you know, I could have kept a few units here just as a distraction and then brought my other units around to engage him this way. But instead, I end up ceding ground, which is not a good idea generally. So now I know what's going to happen is if he catches this building and captures it, I'm going to end up having only 10 minutes to take out my opponent before the battle's over. So I'm going to try to set up another sort of ambush, or at least delayed action with my cavalry. Most of them are still in half decent shape. These are about half strength, 2/3 strength, and half strength. So not terribly worried. I've got my bows starting up. They're going to start firing soon because I want to get into his matchlocks. I don't want to take his matchlocks head on with my infantry, so I'm sending up, now that he has no cavalry, sending up my Yaris and my lone swords and attendants to work on taking out his infantry as best as possible, to take out his general, and then my swords are going to end up coming up. And again, fire all you want into my infantry, especially with a shot like that blows up in the water. You can do that all day. One thing I didn't do is I didn't have my my attendants shatter, but that's okay. My lone swords managed to hit them, and this is why you spread your infantry out. Now you've got these guys retreating. Now my infantry is fatigued because they have been running a little bit more than they should have. But I've managed to get in. His matchlocks are moving. My Yaris are tying down his. My Yari Samurai have engaged his general, which is always a good thing. And even now his swords are trying to flank, and this is where mine are going to try to flank too.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shameful display!
I'm still a little leery of those fire rockets, but they too are going to get engaged fairly soon. So I've lost another unit. My Yari Ashigaru have routed. Now I'm in danger of getting surrounded here. So my general comes up. I know I'm going to need to at least get up to do the morale, or to do the rally, and for the anti-fatigue. So my cavalry comes up. They're going to get set up to charge into his Ashigaru, or whoever they could get into, because his matchlock samurai. Because the biggest thing, that's the most important thing, is to get into his matchlocks. I'm not too worried about his
Our men are running from the battlefield.
Not terribly worried about his fire rockets, as long as my general's out of the way. It's more getting into his matchlocks, which is going to be important. So they're going to screen. He is firing at my cavalry, but they're going to mostly miss. Do get a few there. But I do get into his matchlocks. And another charge into his sword. So these ones rout just because they've been peppered by arrows. Everything's firmly in control now. And although I did cede a lot of ground unnecessarily,
A glorious victory
I feel this was a little bit easier to do because I was able to use a little bit of the terrain to attack my opponent, because at least coming uphill here, my opponent, when he had his matchlocks back, wasn't going to get a great shot at my general or at my incoming infantry. So they did rout my attendants when they got close, but that was about it. And that's the end of the battle. So it's one of those things. Matchlocks are great, but you really need to use the terrain to your advantage. So if you can force your opponent to shoot into the hills or shoot into trees, and then screen your advance, you can engage them. Now, I will say, when I faced opponents that bring a ton of guns, those are the battles I really hate, because too many matchlocks in an army or mounted gunners or whatever, then it just gets ridiculous. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.